Yo, what's up everybody? It's your good friend Koerri Elijah, and I'm back with another awesome video for you. It's my review for episode 2, season 3 of The Flash. This episode is entitled Paradox. So this was a very good episode. We start off first thing off the bat, Barry running back to the current timeline, at least what he thought was the current timeline, and he goes and he talks to Felicity. We all know that Barry usually confides in Felicity when there's issues going on a grand scale, and he can't talk to any of the members of Team Flash. So he's explaining to Felicity like pretty much how he just messed everything up with the timeline, how he thought going back in time again would fix everything, but for some reason things just aren't the way they used to be. While Barry's talking to Felicity, she's like, Barry, you need to go. You're Barry Allen, you're smooth as pudding. Come on, man, you can fix this. Go and fix everything. So Barry leaves, and it cuts to Barry stopping this criminal on a motorcycle. It was pretty cool, you know, it's a good take on the Flash being back. Okay, everything's cool. He's running around disarming a guy on a motorcycle, literally taking parts apart of his motorcycle, slowing the guy down. While the guy was shooting at him too, Barry stopped the bullets, and it was funny. Barry was like, here, you might want these too. You can give those to the cops, because they're right there. After Barry busts the guy on the motorcycle, he goes back to Star Labs, and it's our first look of how everybody is permanently, or at least what we think is going to be permanently here on the show. So we see Cisco, we see Kate, we see everybody over at Star Labs, and let me tell you, Cisco is the wackest person ever. When I'm watching this, I'm like, bro, you really ruined Cisco. His character was one of my favorite characters, and you're just gonna ruin Cisco for me. Honestly, really, Berlanti, what are you thinking? Of course there's a motive behind all of this that's going on, but Cisco is so whack. When Barry comes back and he asks what they should even name the criminal, the thief, Cisco says, how about we call him Thief? He's a thief. And he just has this sour tone to him, and I'm just not feeling it. Bring back the old Cisco. This whole time, the entire episode, I'm like, dude, they have to do something about Cisco. This guy is trash. We see Joe and Iris, they're not talking to one another. Barry tries to figure out what's going on, but he's withholding all of his information. He just feels things are super strange. Wally's still basically Wally. His character seems to just go along with whoever's talking, and it kind of shows that later on in the episode as well. So since Barry doesn't tell him what happened, and I'm assuming it's because, you know, he doesn't necessarily think everything has changed that much. Things still seem similar, but there's just slight things that are different. He's just withholding the information. He doesn't want to freak people out probably, but then he goes on the porch to talk with Iris, and believe it or not, Barry, of course, erased any idea of him ever kissing Iris again. This is like the second time he's went back in time and erased kissing Iris. Man, when is he finally gonna have that set in stone? We love Iris, we love Barry, we want to see them together. The chemistry is just like something like that, and we just want to just bring it together and keep it together. A lot of things did change in the timeline. Barry was talking to Joe. He kind of figures out why Iris is mad at him. It's because Joe never told her about her mom dying, so I'm assuming she never knew about her mom until after her death, and then she figured out her mom was still alive until she really died again, and Wally came about that way. They don't really disclose too much about that. That's just me kind of putting two and two together. It is pretty messed up. I'd be upset too, but Iris, come on, you can forgive him. He's your dad. He's the only parent you have left. Of course, you know he shouldn't have withheld that information from you, but things happen. He was trying to protect you. He's a cop, you know how your dad is. So Barry finally gets to work because of course he has a regular day job. He's forensics, he's a meta-human detective now. But of course, things are a lot different for him as well. He has a freaking partner, Julian Albert, played by the guy that was on Harry Potter. I'm not a huge Harry Potter guy, so I don't really have his name on the top of my head right now, but the guy from Harry Potter that we saw at Comic-Con that everybody seems to love, he is there and he is throwing nothing but shade. The guy he's a dick. I'll say it. He's a freaking dick to Barry all of the time for no freaking reason. I don't understand it. I think it's because he may know that he's the Flash, might have something to do with it. Barry has this freaking partner that he's known for over a year, except he doesn't know him. He keeps on bringing him up to everybody. It's like, yeah, we love him. He's the best. But Barry just can't stand that guy. And literally, it says it in the show over and over and over. I hate that guy. And to the point where people are like, yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. We know. So after Barry meets his crappy partner, he goes and he's trying to check in on Cisco because Cisco literally hates Barry right now. There's just something about Barry that Cisco can't stand being around him. He doesn't mess with Barry at all. And Barry's like, come on, man, like, we're homies, we're friends, what's going on? Like, why are you acting this way? Why are you treating me like this? So Barry is creeping around on Cisco, not creeping around on Cisco, but he's creeping, following Cisco, just trying to see where he's going. Finds out Cisco is at like this AA style grievance meeting, so literally there's people just in a circle, and Cisco goes up and he's just talking about his brother Dante. So apparently within Flashpoint, his brother Dante is dead as well, but Barry won't bring him back. Cisco just can't stand, he can't live with just knowing that his brother is dead, and he hates Barry because of it. There's nothing that Barry really can do, nothing he can say. Cisco misses his brother as his only brother, and he loves him, and you can't help but realize something like that could possibly tear someone apart like that, tear a friendship apart, and just break down a character even as happy-go-lucky as Cisco. Kind of cool how they change that around with the Flashpoint to show the other side of Cisco, that he's not he's really smart, he's really funny, but he's still a human being. There's also a bunch of talk about other shows being affected by Flashpoint, and we finally get an actual person that's on another show that's affected by Flashpoint, and that person is the guy that they said at Comic-Con in San Diego this year who it would be. It's John Diggle. So I'm thinking like, okay, Diggle's affected by Flashpoint. I know you left Team Arrow at the end of season 4. So what could it be? How was he affected? It's probably something cool. He's gonna become a metahuman, or he's gonna have superpower. Something like that's gonna happen with Diggle. You know what these guys did with Diggle? You know how Diggle was affected by the Flashpoint that had everybody super freaking excited? Diggle had a daughter, and they named the daughter after Sarah Lance because Sarah Lance died, right? Well, Sarah Lance was resurrected, so they were probably thinking, hey, we can't have two freaking Sarahs, how can we fix this? Flashpoint changed Diggle's daughter into a boy, and now it's baby John opposed to baby Sarah, and boom, Flashpoint for freaking John Diggle. How disappointing is that? I was watching and I'm like, dude, for real? After all this is how Diggle was affected by Flashpoint. His daughter changed into a son. I thought his son is supposed to be Connor Hawk. Maybe that's why they did. I don't know, man. But I'm just like, dude, so disappointing. I will say that I was hoping something bigger would affect Diggle, at least with Flashpoint. Flashpoint is such a huge thing to happen in this universe, and it only affecting Diggle by his son changing, or his daughter changing into a son, is freaking dud. Another Edward, of course, is on the show because they have to have someone that they could, call Eddie. Edward Claris, the guy who played the Rival. So he's freaking out on a bus, he's tweaking. We saw at the end of the last episode, he was being contacted by Dr. Alchemy, or Alchemy at this point. He just keeps on tweaking, he screams on the bus, and he figures out where he needs to go, and he meets up with Alchemy. He comes out, it shows him Doctor, and he looks cool. The costume design for Dr. Alchemy does look really, really sick with the face mask and the cloak. It's dope. Somehow Dr. Alchemy knows about the alternate timeline, and I guess his plan is to change a bunch of people that were affected by Flash doing Flashpoint over and over and over again. Coincidentally, after seeing Dr. Alchemy, it cuts to a scene of Julian. He's out in the field, he's doing some work finding some husks from a metahuman, trying to get samples from them. Barry shows up on the scene with Joe. Joe's saying, hey, we need to get one of these samples, we need to figure out what's really going on here. Julian hates Barry so much, he will not even let Barry have a sample. He's being a condescending prick the entire time, and Barry just says, man, forget this. He uses his speed and he grabs a sample, which may or may not harm him in the future. So now Barry's in his head. He can't take everybody bickering with each other. He can't take stale freaking Cisco. He talks to Kate and he somehow manipulates her and everybody else to have a dinner with each other. You know, he manipulates Iris and Joe, talking about Grandma Esther's freaking noodles. Who knew noodles would bring people that hate each other together? Or at least one person that hates someone over to see the person they hate. It's madness, but it happens, and it completely backfires. Barry saying, why don't we go on vacation, Team Flash vacation? Joe says, we can't do this with husks going around, and that's the cue for Iris to say, oh yeah, husks. That's why I'm here, because I want to hear about the husks, because I'm a reporter, and Barry said you were going to tell me about the husks. And Joe said, oh, Barry told me I thought you were going to apologize or say something that you love me or something like that, and none of that happened. Everything blows up in freaking Barry's face, as it should have. He should have known he shouldn't have done that, but you know, he's really just trying to get things back to the way they were, and he explains that to him. It's just like, hey, we're supposed to be a team, we're supposed to be a family, we're supposed to be friends. What the heck's going on? I just want things to be back the way they were. Might I add, depressed Cisco freaking sucks. Why? Cisco literally, he wants Barry. He doesn't care what the repercussions would be. He just wants Barry to go back in time and change the timeline and bring back his brother. After all that, of course, the rival shows up. He got his suit and everything. I guess Dr. Alchemy made the suit for him. But he shows up and Barry finds him. Barry confronts him and he tells Barry, he's like, man, you stole my life. I was supposed to be a speedster. But you came, you messed up the timeline, you changed things. My entire life I felt like something was missing, and you stole my life from me. Barry Allen, what is your problem? Now you're gonna have to deal with your true rival. From there, they start running. They're freaking racing, going fast as, and you see the lightning and all this stuff, and at one moment, Barry just like, he says, man, F this, and he just tackles Clarence. He tackles him into the lake basically, and you just see him like tumble off. And they were going super fast, man. I thought he possibly could be dead. Barry goes back to Star Labs, and then of course he pretty much snitches on himself and says that he knows the guy's name, Edward Clarence. And Iris brings him to the side and he's like, yo, I know you're hiding something from me. Stop the BS. I'm Iris, you're Barry, you can't hide it from me, tell me what's going on. And Barry's like, I just need to fix this. Just like he did last time. He's just like, you're gonna run from your problem. So Barry decides to go run back in time. So he's running back in time. He's in the Speed Force, but then he gets snatched up by good old Jay Garrick. Earth 3 Flash, right? I don't know how Earth 3 Flash was just in the Speed Force. Maybe it just connects all the worlds and the multiverse and all the alternate Flashpoint paradoxes and all of that. Anyways, he snatches him up in 1998, where Barry would be a young kid. That's where he was going back, I suppose. And he explains to him like, hey man, you can't just keep going back in time to try to change things every time you make a mistake. Are you gonna be a freaking hero, or are you gonna be a freaking fast coward that just goes back in time every time he messes something up? And that has to go through Barry's mind. Barry says, what's the point of having these powers if I can't just go back and fix stuff? And he says, we're men, not gods. Jay Garrick, he drops that on him. And then he explains to him, hey, look at this. This is like a teacup. You can't just keep on running back in time. Pretty much the world, the universe, everything, it operates just like a cup. So if you have a cup, you break a cup, you try to piece it back together, it's not going to be the same. No matter what you do, it's just never going to be the same. Pretty much that's the theory of time travel that we're dealing with. It's the multi-plane theory. You can go back, but it's just going to make another plane. You can go back and just continuously make separations from the timeline that you originated from. So there's no way to get the world back the way it was. And Barry finally figures this out. So he says, man, I'm just going to go back and we're going to have to just deal with the world the way it is. Hopefully, even with these slight changes, we can get things at least closer back to the way they were. So when Barry gets back, he finally tells the team, like, hey, I messed up. I went back in time. I thought I could change everything. I was being super selfish. I tried to save my parents. Even got to stay and live with them for 3 months, but things just got out of hand and I had to go back and try to make things work. But unfortunately, since we have this multi-plane time travel, there's no way for me to go back and make things the same. All I can do is change things indefinitely. Cisco is pissed about this. Cisco's like, oh, so you'll go back in time and save your family, but anybody else's family you won't go back into time and save them? Like, bro, did you not just hear what I said? Shitty Cisco. That's his name. Hashtag Shitty Cisco, because that's what he definitely was. So Barry needs to know more about Dr. Alchemy, how the heck Eddie got back here, Edward Clarence got back, and now he has these speedster powers. So he goes and he talks to Julian. He's like, man, I know you don't like me, but can you just pretend to be my friend for just a moment and give me some information? But he gets what he needs. He figures out where Clarence is, and he goes and heads up against Clarence one-on-one. Well, we thought it was going to be one-on-one, but of course Dr. Alchemy was there too, and he snuck up behind them and he kind of shocked them. So that's where the rival comes and he starts messing up Barry. Barry tries to fight back, but the rival is just pounding him and pounding him and pounding him and just tossing him all over the structure. What happens to be the structure where he fought him the first time. Right when the rival was about to get the finishing blow with like a pickaxe or whatever it was that he had, Cisco comes out, Vibe comes out with the goggles on and the gauntlets, and he uses like a sound wave technique out of his gauntlets to knock him out, and then they team up and they finally defeat the rival, and we get him locked up. After they lock up the rival, they got him all captured. There's no signs of Dr. Alchemy at all. Somehow he just vanishes without a trace. Super, super interesting to see who he is, how all this is happening, but there's literally no trace of Dr. Alchemy. Old Cisco finally returns though, thankfully at the end of the episode, because literally I was done with Cisco. Old Cisco returns, and he's actually the one that calls Alchemy Dr. Alchemy. He's like, oh, he gave him his powers, and kind of like a doctor. Like a Dr. Alchemy. So now we know Cisco, has pretty much full control of his powers. We figure out, and this was a huge thing at the end. Freaking Kate, the driest character, the most unimportant character of all of the Flash, or probably all of the CW shows, next to Laurel Lance, but she's dead. She freaking had the Frost hands. So is she gonna be Killer Frost, bro? Fan service. That's all I can say. Fan service. People loved Killer Frost. I definitely loved Kate as Killer Frost as well. It was just a better character. She's more outgoing, things of that nature. And I'm excited to see what they actually do with Killer Frost, or with Caitlin Frost, or Caitlin Snow. Whatever they're going to do with her Frost abilities, hopefully it's for good. Maybe it'll be for evil. Maybe we'll even see Zoom come back as, the Black Racer and utilize. Who knows what's going to happen? What's in store for season 3 of The Flash? This was just episode 2, Flashpoint. I'm super happy, just as happy as Barry at the end of the episode, finally getting that kiss from Iris as well. I'm super excited to see what's in store. So what do you guys think? Did you enjoy this episode of The Flash? Episode 2 of season 3, Paradox. I thought it was a pretty good episode. Shitty Cisco, I'm glad he's gone, and we got the original Cisco back. We'll see how things go for the rest of the season. We did get a sneak peek of Jesse Quick, so we do know we're gonna see with Jesse as a speedster. We're gonna see Earth 2 Wells hop back over. I wonder what's gonna happen with Wally West. I don't know if he's gonna be influenced by Dr. Alchemy, if that's how he's gonna get his speedster powers, if he even does get them, even since we have Jesse Quick now. Who knows? We'll figure out. Throw me down some comments down below what you thought about the episode, what you thought about my video. There will be more videos like this to come. Also, these videos are going to be up on playlegit.net as well, so make sure you stop by there, check these videos out, as well as all the other cool content we have rolling around there. I'm doing a podcast with KJ and Knowledge there as well, the Play Legit podcast, so make sure you check that out. Like I said, if you're new, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's going to be more awesome videos like this. I love this CW Arrowverse. I call it the Flashverse because Flash is literally my favorite show. Even though Arrow is freaking awesome, the Flash is really what drew me in. So thanks everybody for checking out this video. If you liked it, please make sure you give me a thumbs up as well. Definitely enjoy every single one of those. And all of the comments down below, you guys are awesome. Big shout out to the last person that left the first comment on my last video. It was my channel update of October 2016. Grant H, big shout out to you. I told you I'd give you a shout out. Anybody that leaves the first comment, I know it's like a trend on Twitter. People like to be the first person to comment. If you are the first person and you type first, I will give you a shout out on my very next video. More shout outs and more awesome videos. And until next time, guys, I'm Koerri Elijah. It's a paradox, and I'm out. Peace.